Hey guys, so I wanted to talk with you a little bit more about some of these motor mount issues I've had. I kind of doubt anyone else will have these issues. I think they're just sort of particular to my situation, but it could happen. So if you've been following through my thread, you'll see that when I got my car, apparently some previous owner at one point in time had put truck style engine mounts on there. So for the upper and the lower, so even on the cross member it has it's kind of the opposite of what this is. So it's like a steel plate bolted on with the rubber mount sitting on it, and then there's like the metal clamshell part sits over that, and then the motor mount bolt goes through. So I was able to set my engine and transmission in my car, and I thought that would work. I didn't know any better. They were the mounts that were on my car, so I just figured that's what it had. But what ended up happening was the transmission cross member would not line up right. So I tried a whole bunch of things to make it work. It just wasn't happening. So it kind of came down to like the motor needed to go backwards somehow, or the cross member had to go forwards, but doing either would make the bolts not line up in the transmission mount, or the bolts would line up in the cross member on the subframe and all that kind of stuff. So my buddy came over and looked at it and just said, "You have the wrong motor mounts." So I have to change that out. But this is what the original style, I guess you call it the perch, would look like. So this right here bolts onto the cross member in the front of the car, has 3 bolts in it, and this right here is an original style mount. So see, it has the 3 holes here on the outside. So this bolts up to the engine block with those 3 bolts, and then you basically, when you set the engine in, it fits over. You know, it's got this little channel in it, sits over that, and then the bolt goes through and holds it all together. Right? Makes sense. So hopefully I get all this stuff in my car and it'll set the motor up and backwards where it's supposed to be, so everything lines up right. A couple of things I wanted to mention though is I had a couple different people tell me that a stock style mount is really prone to breaking, that they would rip apart and stuff, and they're not really that good. And I didn't really understand how that was possible until I went and bought this one so I could see what it looked like, and I understand now. So hopefully I can show this. But so this part right here, and this flat right here, and this part is all just like a metal curved bracket thing, and then this back piece through here, this is just kind of a flat plate here on the back, but essentially it's all held together in the middle with just a piece of rubber. You can see it's kind of pushed through on the back here, sort of like I don't know, like a rivet or something. It's just molded through the holes in this back bracket. So essentially all that's really holding these 2 pieces of metal together is this rubber in the middle. And I guess if you're racing a lot or you get super crazy after a little while, that this whole rubber can just break loose from this plate or this plate, and then your the driver's side is often the one that comes apart. So this would just be disconnected, and your motor would be flopping around when you hit the gas or whatever. There's solid mounts that you can get. So this part right here just ends up being basically a solid steel plate that would bolt onto this bracket here. That wouldn't break, but then you feel every vibration in the motor when it's idling and running, all that, which depending on what you're doing might not be too bad. And there's also a mount with a polyurethane style rubber insert that's got kind of an interlocking design that won't come apart like this one will. So just wanted to go over a couple things with that. Hopefully that helps out someone here in the future if you're having a problem. Another thing to note though is I don't have a gas pedal yet for my car. I'm still looking around, but I have a 1970 model, and apparently there was 2 different style of throttle linkages. There's the one that's all metal rods and stuff, and there's one that's got a cable set up. And I guess if you have the all metal one with the rods, linkages and all that, if this motor mount breaks on your driver's side, the engine can actually like pivot up and bind that linkage into like open throttle position, and then you're just stuck at wide open throttle basically. So that really isn't a situation that you'd want to get into. Although with a cable one that really wouldn't be a problem, but since it's just a wire, you know, like a piece of cable coming out, you can't stick your toe underneath your gas pedal and, you know, pull the throttle back closed. That's kind of the only downside to having the cable set up. So kind of a pro or con either way, but I decided to just go with a set of these mounts for right now so I can get my motor mocked up to where it's supposed to be, try to get everything bolted in and start doing my wiring, and maybe put the front clip back together. It'll just kind of get me going for now. I'll probably just get a better mount, a poly mount or a solid mount or something later on. But anyways, just an update and some information for you guys. Hopefully someone might find this useful sometime, but I'll catch you guys in my next update.